I feel like as soon as Elon launched a convertible out into space, they needed to double their efforts. They're trying to figure out why somebody would do that.
Elon is he's the real life Batman, isn't he? That guy, he's Bruce Wayne. He
Well, was
blows.
there a correlation at all between UAP phenomena and when humans started playing around first in low Earth orbit and then satellites and then men in space and then to the moon? And as we continue this progression, does there seem to be an uptick in these as well, as almost as if, you know, the situation that you're describing? I mean, to break it down at a very basic level is very similar to a zoo, which human beings, we have these all over the world. We go and we observe species that we can't communicate with, and who knows how much they can see
Yeah.
of us, right? But you don't want to go live in the lion cage. You might think you might want
No,
to,
right.
right? But we as humans are curious in this respect, and we collect things and observe things like this. So it's not, to me, it's not a far-fetched to think that we might just not be at the apex of that pyramid scheme, like where we think we are. But I wonder if, you know, as we started to march our way off of our planet, if these type of sightings and oversight increased a little bit.
It looks like it to me. Although there are patterns that I haven't yet really figured out fully. So, for example, in my USO research, for some reason that I haven't yet fully figured out, there was an explosion of encounters during the 1970s. Why the 1970s? And this is pre-internet. So the fact that I have more USO cases from the 70s than any other decade, including the 2010s comes in second. There's a lot during that decade.
What year did we develop nuclear submarine technology?
The 50s, you know,
Okay.
nuclear powered submarines. 1950, USS Nautilus was the first, I think 1954, I believe. And the Soviets were on our heels. They had nuclear subs out there by the 60s. They
Okay.
were traversing the oceans. So, and you know, the 1960s and 70s, that's when we first put a lot of satellites in orbit, basically. I don't know, for some reason, the 1970s were an enormous decade of sightings, and not just for USOs, but also, I just know from my UFO, UAP research, it was a big, big decade. And I often wonder what was going on. It's not that things stopped in the 80s and 90s, they didn't, but there was something very big happening, and I can't say that I know why. Not sure why. So I suspect that there are patterns having to do with them and their motivations and their programs that are not fully known to us. I don't think that I have a full handle on it. But I do think that much of the activity that we see is, I didn't really fully answer your question before. Why are they interested in our nuclear technology and this and that? They're interested in this because they are in my opinion, they are tracking what we are up to. They are very interested in our technological and scientific progress. I think that's very important for them. I think they want to know what latest iteration of our weapons platforms are capable of and our communications platforms and things like this. I think they are constantly checking it out. And I say this because there are many, many cases, military encounters again, where these objects seem to come in, hang out, sometimes cause electromagnetic interference as well, but then they take off. It's like they're coming in, quick visit, and they're gone. This has happened in many aviation encounters, and it's happened to our aircraft carriers on a number of occasions. Objects would come in, glowing orange sphere hanging out over the USS John F. Kennedy aircraft carrier in 1971 for 20 minutes while all communications and weapon systems go offline. That's July 7th, July 2nd, 1971. And we have a name, a man named James Kopp, who was a communications specialist aboard the USS JFK at that time, and talked in great detail about this. There's no reason not to believe his account, in my view. And to the extent that you can check out what he says, things do check out, they corroborate. So this orange spherical whatever, did it come from below the water? Did it come from above? I don't know. All he knows is he's working communications. They start spewing out gibberish. And he hears on the intercom someone screaming, "It's God. It's the end of the world." And he's like, what is it? He goes out to look. He says, it's nighttime, and there is this thing. It glowed, and it was like these bubbling colors like the sun. It gave off half the amount of light of daylight, he said. And it was just there. The ship went to battle stations, general quarters, after 30 seconds, and he had to go back to his communication station. But he said for the next 20 minutes, everything was offline.